Okay, we have explained the concepts of prospection, retrospection. We have explained how they might affect the relationship between verb and complement, how they might affect the relationship between the Kevin or the auxiliary and the main verb within the verb sentence, the verb phrase, I'm sorry, and we have also explained how they might affect the relationship between two sentences. Continuing with this last aspect of prospection, retrospection, I would like to explain what happens when I am using hypotheses in English. In English, they do not have the subjunctive mode as we have the subjunctive mode as we have in Spanish. We have subjunctive to show that we are not 100% sure, that something is not probable, etc., etc. So what is it that they do to fill in for the void which the lack of the subjunctive leaves in the language? What they do is that they shift, they fold up the timeline, and they shift the time one step further back in the past. So they fold up the timeline over itself, and what is present becomes past. This is like a time shift and a tense shift, obviously. So what happens when I want to hypothesize about something in the present? When I want to hypothesize about something in the present, I automatically will express it using a past simple. Then what happens when I have to apply a prospection to that reference of time? Obviously, as I am in the past, simple meaning present, when I mean something that might take place in the future, my prospection will not be future, it will be conditional. And what happens when I am hypothesizing about something that might have happened in the past, but it's just that, a hypothesis. So instead of using the past simple, I use a past perfect tense. But that's exactly what happens with conditionals. When you use a conditional and you are more or less 100% sure that something will be like that, if you study hard, you will pass. Okay, that means that given that, something will certainly happen. What happens when I am hypothesizing about the present? I take a step back in the past and I say, if I were tall and slim, which I am not, I am hypothesizing about the present. If I were tall and slim, I would be a model. So prospection, moving forward. But that prospection is in a conditional tense. If I were an intelligent person, I would have got a better job. I would have found a better job. So I am mixing conditionals because the condition is present or all time. I mean, I am or I am not a clever person, present or all time. But the consequence is retrospective, which means I have to use a past perfect. Or for example, with the I wish, every time I make this face means that I am hypothesizing. I express a wish, I express a hypothesis, I am dreaming away. So with the I wish my son would pass his C1 this year. So I am expressing a wish referring to the future. I'm referring to the future. But as it is a hypothesis and I took a step back in time, my present, my I wish, really, I let's say I set the prospection to the future using a conditional, because the I wish in itself, it simply means a hypothesis. Oh, I wish I were beautiful. So I wish is the hypothesis, and when I remain at the same point, I use a past simple. I wish I had accepted the job. This means that in the past I didn't accept it, and now I am making a hypothesis as to what would have happened if I had accepted it. And the same happens with the third type conditionals. If I had met him before, I would have done it. Okay, so what happens with the third type conditionals? That since I go further back in the past, because I am hypothesizing about something past, the past simple is not valid anymore. I have to use a past perfect for the conditional. What happens next? That given the condition, I establish a prospection. That's why I use a conditional. But at the same time, that conditional or that consequence is still past. It is still past. That's why I use a conditional perfect. If I had accepted the job, I would have become rich in the past. So my past is a past perfect because I have taken one step to the past. So this is what happens when I am hypothesizing. I simply take a step to the past, which means that my present is past simple and my past is past perfect. It takes a little bit to understand, but once you understand it, you control verb patterns, you control reported speech, you control models in the past, as we usually say, you control conditional sentences, you control the I wish, you control all sorts of hypothetical sentences that you might think of. So at present, it's a little bit of a shock because it's completely different to what we have here in Spanish. But obviously, when you speak another language, you have to switch to the ship or to the way of approaching reality that new language has.